Before your organization embarks on developing a strategic plan, there are several things to consider. One of which is what level of strategy are you prepared to design? So to give you a reference, we have 3 levels of strategy. One is execution level, the next up is evolutionary, and the last one, and the most complex, is revolutionary. Let me just talk briefly about each of those. Now, you may have found that you have a lot of strategic initiatives already, or you see them out there and you know you have to get started on them, or a blend of both. But the amount of them exceeds the capacity that you have to really do them well. It's time for a strategic plan. And if it's about organizing and prioritizing the known initiatives, it's likely an execution level strategy. Now, often those tend to be a shorter time frame as well. So you might develop goals on a 1 year to 2 year horizon at most in that type of strategy. The next one up is evolution. So in evolution, you have an aspect of what I just described in execution, but you also have things that you know you want to redesign or change. So it might be some growth opportunities that you want to pursue, or it might be that you want to maybe radically change a couple of your fundamental systems. So that's got a piece of the unknown in it. But it will likely be initiatives where you can look somewhere else to see what they've done, whether it's another organization or another industry. That's what evolution is all about. Revolution, however, is you and your organization are ready and prepared to be the disruptors. So you are going to go out there and you're going to change the industry. You're going to be on the leading edge of it. The more you go up from execution through evolution to revolution, the more you have that requirement for a lot of time. It's going to take more time to deliver on the initiatives in a revolutionary strategy than an execution one. And you're going to need more available capital because you're going to have to invest in your product pipeline, new services, etc. Your team is going to require more skills. So you're going to have to invest in training as people are doing things they have not done before. Their motivation needs to be high and their energy needs to be high. If you have an organization where people are feeling burnt out or frustrated from past or current change, it is not time to be thinking about a revolutionary strategy. And the impact is going to be greater in a revolutionary as opposed to an execution. Execution might be we're doing a lot better at the end of it at the stuff that we already know than we were doing it before. So the impact, you might have a sense of pride that's resonating throughout the team. Wow, we've really picked ourselves up when it comes to utilization, for example. Whereas revolution, it's, whoa, this is the unknown. This is taking a lot. We're developing a lot of grit through this process. So there's going to be a lot more impact that everybody feels, including your customer, which leads to my last point. There is a major increase in risk the further you go up. So you have to have a system that you can use to mitigate the risk and to fail fast, fail cheap as you're pursuing on a revolutionary strategy. That's an overview of those 3 levels. Now let me give you an example of a goal that might go beside each. At the execution level, I'm going to use a trucking example. So it could be improve utilization by 10% in the next 12 months. So 10%, maybe that's a smaller number to you, and 12 months, also a shorter timeline. So in the execution world, those things tend to be a little bit more short up. Chances are you probably already have a KPI around utilization anyway, and you're just trying to make it better. That's an example of a goal in the execution level strategic plan. Moving up one from there, I'll use an aviation example. That could be improve pilot retention by 25% in 18 months. So 2 things that are different here. The percentage that we're looking to increase is a lot higher than the last one. We want to have more impact, and the timeline's a little bit longer. So just like I talked about, those increases in impact and available time on strategies as you go up. In this case, too, the ideas attached to pilot retention, you may need some innovative ideas there. You may need some things that you weren't doing before. It might not be sort of the basic go-to as far as benefits of total compensation. You may want to come up with some more creative ideas that other carriers aren't doing. And lastly, an example of revolutionary strategy. We will transition 25% of our straight truck fleet to electric in 2 years. Now, again, 25% is a bigger number. We've maybe gone safer because we're experimenting here by just focusing on our straight truck part of our fleet. But we're giving ourselves 2 years to do this. And it's in an area where there's not a lot of people doing this these days. In fact, there's news stories of rental car companies that are selling off a lot of the electric cars that they added to their fleet just a couple years ago. So this goal, you could see, has with it a lot more risk, which is always inherent with revolutionary strategy. That's something that you need to consider before you embark on it. And your appetite needs to match the size of your stomach. So you could get romanticized in the strategic planning process when you're writing those goals and say, we got to go bigger, we got to go bigger. But always consider, do you have the time? Do you have the capital? Does your team have the skill set, the motivation, the energy right now? And are you ready to take on the risk of revolutionary strategy?